let's kick off talking about the EU FNCS finals. And instead of starting at the top of the leaderboard, we're going to talk about the bottom, because there are two teams in the bottom 10, which I would have never expected to see either of these in the bottom 10, let alone both. We have Mustache and Tayson in 42nd on 30 points. They had a lot of issues with connection. They're having a lot of lag issues. It was just a miserable tournament for Mustache and Tayson. I'm sure they'll bring it back next week, but I wanted to talk more about Queasy and Veno in 48th, the FNCS champions, only getting 13 points in 6 games. So what happened? In case you guys missed it, they decided to change their drop spot the day of FNCS finals from uncontested Kenjutsu Crossing to then contest Skydune and Shaco's over at the castle near Slappy. Now, this decision, it confused a lot of people, myself included. Everyone in my chat when I was about to do the watch party was telling me Queasy and Veno are switching drops, they're switching drops. And I was like, there is no chance Queasy and Veno leave uncontested Kenjutsu to contest the castle. But they did. Now, let's break down that decision. They just won the last FNCS Grand Finals, winning 6 games out of 12 out of Kenjutsu. But obviously, Kenjutsu was a lot stronger last season. You had the guaranteed katana spawns, which was the strongest item in the game. And Kenjutsu, because of that, was pretty much the strongest POI on the map, or one of. It is no longer the strongest POI, but it's still very, very solid. And if you don't know anything about Queasy as an IGL, he's always preferred edge map drops to get his surge. He doesn't like building giant surge bases. He likes rotating in behind people, going dead side, and it gives them a lot more freedom to play Storm in the current meta and move around. So I was very, very confused to see them want to go the castle. If you don't know why the castle is so good, we're going to talk a little bit later about Iomzo and Rise's performance in FNCS today, but I mean, this is the tweet Edgy made showing their loot from the 6 games. It's looking a bit crazy. It's a really good drop. Not only that, if you open the vault, remember you get 3 points for opening keycard vaults now in FNCS, and you get 15 points for capturing the island. And the island always spawns, or almost always spawns, very, very close to this castle. So in my opinion, the castle is the best POI on the map. But Kenjutsu's got to be like at least a tier 2, maybe tier 3 drop at worst. But Queasy and Veno, as good as they are with that drop, I think can easily win grand finals. But they're banking themselves. They've changed their names to both have castle in it. They are locked into going the castle for the rest of the season. Unfortunately, this tournament didn't really go their way. They only won 2 of the 6 matches on spawn, and then they got very quickly third parties straight after that. But Veno did tweet out he didn't even know where the chest spawned. And if you're confused why they are just throwing their FNCS finals like that, because the format is top 50 most consistent teams across the 3 weeks go straight to the grand finals, there's no prize money in these weeks and there's no guaranteed qualification. So by already getting top 50, they've pretty much secured that as long as they're confident they're going to get top 50 in the next 2 weeks, then they're going to make grand finals. So now's the time to try and stake their claim on the drop. And there's no better way to prove to a team that you are going to contest them and never leave the drop than leaving your uncontested POI to contest them. It's a bold strategy. It didn't work out this tournament, but we'll see how it goes for the next tournament. They did say they don't want to be dropping there at Global Champs. Remember, obviously Global Championship is next season. We don't know what the POI is going to be, but my guess is they don't want to contest Iomzo Rise, but they think their best chance to get the $200,000 first place prize this season is to drop the castle. They have already qualified for the Global Championship, so there is that extra element of risk. Any team that chooses to contest them at the castle now, if they haven't already qualified for the LAN, they're giving up potentially their last good chance to make it to the LAN event, going up against a team who doesn't need it as much as them. 200 grand is 200 grand. They still want to win FNCS this season, but it means a lot less to them than a lot of these other teams, and that works in their favor. Now, let's talk about the top of the leaderboard. We had iDrop and Mappy bringing it home in first place on 279 points, winning 3 of the 6 matches. They had a 50% win rate, and they also captured 2 of the Rift Island flags, giving them an extra 30 points, and that, along with all their other points, beat out Blaha and Mixon only just on 266 points. With 6 matches played and 3 wins, you would really expect that gap to be a lot bigger. They did have 2 36 places, so they didn't have 2 really good games, but Blaha and Mixon were just the absolute consistency warriors. They got a 5 Elim 8th, 5 Elim 7th, 2 Elim 9th, 2 Elim 9th, 0 Elim 14th, and a 5 Elim 2nd. So really, really consistent plays for them. iDrop and Mappy's key to success, winning 3 of 6 games, was, of course, high ground. In the current meta, no hammers, no katanas, no mobility at all. Once you get high ground, if you play it well and you're careful of people flanking a zone behind you or getting breached out, it's really, really safe to go for the win. And with Tayson and Mustache struggling and Queasy and Veno, it meant there was really no one giving them a big play for high ground. The 3 end games they made, they took high ground and won it. It was very, very impressive from them. Then we had Robin and Axe Force in third on 256, Tropex and Huddy on 256, and then Vox and DKS on 251. Seti and Cammy unfortunately were looking like they were going to potentially win the first week, but their last game was their worst game, going down in 27th. Otherwise, they would have been first place Duo Cash Cup, second place Duo Cash Cup with only 5 games if you watch my other video, and then first place in FNCS. So Seti Cammy is still looking fantastic. We had Vico and Pink in 7th, a new duo. Both Vico and Pink have been struggling a little bit in the last few seasons, especially for how good players know they are. Then we had Akira and Skyjump. Now, I know of Akira from playing on console. I'm assuming this duo isn't currently on console in FNCS. That would be ridiculous. But even coming from console onto PC, it's now getting a top 10 in the first week is incredibly impressive. Wait. Sorry, I've got to add this in here. I was just talking about how Akira might be on console and might not be. Not only is he on console, his duo is also on console, and this is their setup. I'm honestly blown away. They've got to be doing something different to everyone else, because getting top 10 on EU FNCS finals on double console, and then this is your setup. I mean, it's kind of like no excuses, right? You can really pop off and get very, very good at the game with any setup, apparently, if you have enough passion. That is incredibly impressive. We had Moneymaker and Fanayan in 9th, and then Vidil and Savage in 10th. A very, very good showing for Vidil and Savage. They were also looking really good to potentially close out a win. They were top 5 going into the last game, but they went down early in 24th. Swinging over to NA is absolutely no surprise who is going to be in first place here. You saw the photo of the loadouts earlier. Yomzo and Rise with that loot is just a recipe for success. They came in first on 302 points. And again, like Edgy said, the loadouts here really are looking like MMB Season X. With that loadout, with a team as good as Yomzo and Rise, it is going to be incredibly hard to beat them. You can see why Queasy and Veno really want to claim the castle. But shout out to Acorn and Cold. They almost did it on 291 points. And they got 1 win, and it was one of the most ridiculous wins I have seen. Cold crashed with 70 players remaining, and Acorn went on to win the game, pulling off this endgame.
I'm the best, bro! I'm the best! Oh my god!
A lot of people talked a lot of smack when Acorn and Cold won, saying that Cold carried Acorn. Acorn was dead every endgame and Cold had to solo clutch. Well, Acorn proving that when Cold goes down, he can do it as well. He'll sacrifice himself as the IGL to put Cold in a good position to close it out, but when he needs to clutch up, he can clutch up. And in third place, we had one of the absolute OGs, Zypher, clutching up massively alongside Shaw, getting 258 points. Unfortunately, their second last game of 36 really let them down. Previously to that, they were in the top 3, usually looking to win it the entire time, and they fell off the pace, but they did bring it back in their last game. At one point, Shaw and Zypher were the 2 elim leaders of the entire tournament, with both of them on the same duo. So they were playing very aggressive and playing very well. Then we had another OG, Wavy Jacob, alongside Natch, representing the West Boys in 4th place on 239, and then Bucky and Okus in 5th. Their first game, they went down to Surge. I was a little bit worried. Bucky said he was going to be contesting the island every single game, and because of that, they captured it 3 times, getting them 45 points. 1/4 of their points were from the flag, basically. So they did really, really well. They played super aggressive, and they played to their strengths. When you're partnered with Okus, you can really play aggressive around that flag and win it and scare other teams off. We had Vanillas and Convict and Sick, again, another West team. Batman, Booga, and Rapid, a half West team. Ages and Kanata in 8th. Booga Threats in 9th, and then Rituals and Reet in 10th. So again, a lot of West players were up on the leaderboard today. I also want to give a shout out to Bully and G-Money in 13th, a double controller duo in a meta that is very, very favored towards mouse and keyboard right now. Super awesome to see that is still even doable. We have Blake and Macwood in 12th. We had so many OGs. I don't know if it's like a no mobility meta just brings out all of the big brain boomer IGLs and players, but it was really cool to see so many of these OGs doing really, really well. They made finals and I was like, oh yeah, cool. There's a lot of people here making finals you wouldn't see too often, and then all of them getting really, really high on the leaderboard. We are missing some of those big names a lot of people are going to talk about. Obviously, Clicks and Epic Whale down in 29th. It was a weird day for them. Honestly, there was a bit of surge issues, a bit of luck issues. Clicks one game got lurked on. He was popping meds in the open where, yeah, he could have boxed up, but it was weird to see a team there. It was one of those days for them, and Clicks being a big momentum player that really obviously did affect them. I will also say the servers were not too fantastic today. I'm sad to keep saying this. I don't like talking about it. The servers were really bad for round 1 FNCS, became really good in round 2, got me super excited, and then for some reason in round 3 on pretty much every region I watched, at least EU and NA, were pretty terrible. Again, I'll show you the clip here because I don't want to just say it and give people an out like I'm trying to give them an excuse, but when there's stuff like this happening where players are just teleporting through walls, they don't even know where you are, you don't know what you're shooting, it really is hard to be consistent. Some of the best teams can still do it, but if teams struggled here in this week 1, I wouldn't count them out for the rest of FNCS. Hopefully Epic's going to do something to address this issue and we can have better servers going forward.